The most important point for Seborga is independence. It's not easy, but we all believe in it and we will never give up. So we go for it. We have time. I'm still young.
Yes, that was me talking to a princess, an actual princess. The rest of the call is coming up later in the video. Princess of where, you might ask? Seborga, the free and sovereign principality, which is nestled in the hills of northwestern Italy, just a few miles from the French border. Not familiar with Seborga? Let me tell you about it. According to Seborgan history, it has been an independent state for over 1,000 years. It is very small, just over 5.5 square miles, with just a few hundred citizens. But despite its size, Seborga has all of the things you expect from a European principality. Its own flag, stamps and coins, beautiful scenery, border guards, lots of pageantry, and, as we've seen, a princess. No one really disputes Seborga's past history as an independent state, but Seborga is not currently recognized as independent by any other country. And partly because of this, Seborga is often portrayed in the media as a less than serious project, or as just a way to attract tourists to this scenic Italian village. But I am here to tell you that this is not true. Seborga is actively seeking recognition of its independence from Italy. And under the leadership of Princess Nina and her Crown Council, Seborga is working hard to develop its political and economic institutions. So, while Seborga may look like a fairy tale kingdom, this is not make-believe. In the early 1960s, a man named Giorgio Carbone began a campaign for Seborga, his home village, to reassert its independence. And I say reassert because Seborga first became an independent state in the year 954, when its territory was donated to some Cistercian monks. At the time, northern Italy and most of Central Europe was a loose grouping of hundreds of dukedoms, counties, and principalities known as the Holy Roman Empire, and Seborga became a very small piece in this mix of highly autonomous states. In 1079, although it was still owned by the monks, Seborga was raised to the status of a principality, a status which has never been formally revoked. In 1729, the land on which Seborga sat was sold to the Duke of Savoy, Victor Amadeus II, but according to the Seborgans, the deed of sale was never officially registered, and the monks never received their payment. Also, the sale was a personal purchase of land by the Duke, not a transfer of sovereignty from the Principality of Seborga to the Duchy of Savoy. But, as Seborga is very small, and the Duke was certainly one of the most powerful men in the region at the time, his descendants later became kings of Italy, Seborga's status as an independent principality appears to have fallen through the cracks of history. In the mid-19th century, when Italy finally unified, the Principality of Seborga was never mentioned in any of the various treaties. Likewise, in the formation of the post-war Italian Republic in 1946, Seborga's status was never addressed. So, since its sovereignty has never been formally abolished, there is a case to be made that the Principality of Seborga, at least on a technicality, still exists. I think there's actually a better argument than this legal one which I will present later in this video. But Giorgio Carbone claimed to have found documents in the Vatican Library which prove Seborga's independence, and began making the case to the people of his village that they were not Italians, as they had always thought, but were actually Seborgans. In 1963, the people of Seborga elected Carbone their prince, Prince Giorgio, and although the idea of electing a prince might sound odd, if you look at the history of many of the former states of the Holy Roman Empire, it's not actually that unusual. In 1995, the people of Seborga held a referendum on their status and overwhelmingly voted 304-4 to formally reassert their independence. At the same time, they elected Prince Giorgio as Prince for Life and adopted an official constitution for the principality called the General Statutes. This moment, Seborga's re-entry onto the geopolitical stage, attracted worldwide attention and produced a serious tourism boom. According to a 1997 Washington Post article I found, in the years after that referendum, Seborga received 100,000 visitors per year. Over the next 20 years, the numbers eased a bit, but in 2009, the principality was still being visited by 2,000 tourists every month. The economic benefits of tourism came at a good time. Back in the 1990s, Seborga's long-standing flower-growing industry was in decline, thanks to serious competition from the Netherlands. But most of the media reports about Seborga's claimed independence assumed, and sometimes explicitly stated, that Prince Giorgio was merely some sort of clever prankster, or perhaps that Seborga's cause was merely a scheme for attracting tourists. But this is clearly not the case. Prince Giorgio's belief in Seborga's ancient rights was sincere. Prince Giorgio passed away in December 2009, and some speculated that the Principality of Seborga might have died with him. But the people of Seborga remained committed to the cause Giorgio had launched, and 6 months after his death, a local real estate businessman named Marcello Menegotto was elected Prince Marcello. In November 2019, Princess Nina, who you saw in the opening of this video, was elected as Seborga's third and first ever female sovereign ruler of the modern era. Where there are elections, of course, there must be politics. So let's have a look at Seborga's political institutions. First of all, there's the head of state, the prince or princess, who is elected every 7 years. That's right, unlike Monaco or Liechtenstein, Seborga is not a hereditary principality, and the prince or princess is held accountable to their people via democratic elections. Princess Nina was elected with a resounding mandate, 122 votes to 69, in a two-way race with Laura de Biscaya, the daughter of the late Prince Giorgio. This election was not just a popularity vote. Princess Nina's campaign included a bold vision for the Principality's future, and included plans to construct a luxury hotel and spa resort. Seborga is located in pristine countryside, just 30 miles from the very wealthy Principality of Monaco, so there is potentially a perfect customer base nearby. The resort would also broaden Seborga's economy and bring in more jobs which would attract young people and families. The princess does not rule on her own. As well as Princess Nina, the executive includes the 9 members of her Crown Council. 4 members are appointed directly by the princess, and 5 are elected by the Seborgan people. There is also a legislature of sort, the Council of Priors. Although, in reality, it's a type of direct democracy. The council is composed of every adult Seborgan who is born and baptized in the country, and who has at least 1 living child and 1 living parent. I gotta admit, that last stipulation, having 1 living child and 1 living parent, seemed a bit odd to me. But according to His Excellency, Crown Councillor for Foreign Affairs Luca Pagani, this requirement is a tradition which dates back to Seborga's medieval history. It also ensures that the people making decisions for Seborga are concerned both with the needs of older citizens as well as for providing for the future. Crown Councillor Pagani was also kind enough to answer several more questions I had, so the following is based on information he provided. I asked him about political parties. Do they exist in Seborga? No, not formally. But there are 2 competing visions for Seborga's future, both of which were expressed in the 2019 election. One vision, which is promoted by what Councillor Pagani called a more traditionalist group, wants the emphasis put on Seborga's history, especially its history with the Knights Templar, which includes a legend that a group of 9 Templar knights hid the Holy Grail in Seborga in the 12th century. This group would also contend that Princess Nina's government is too focused on economic development and prosperity, and that they are the true heirs of Prince Giorgio's original vision. Meanwhile, the more contemporary group, led by Princess Nina, is more outward-facing, is more interested in developing Seborga's economic and political institutions, and is more serious about Seborga's aspirations for international recognition. Speaking of which, yes, those aspirations are serious. So let's talk about Seborga's foreign relations, starting with its most important international relationship, Italy. According to Councillor Pagani, Seborga's relations with Italy are entirely friendly, peaceful, and based on mutual respect. The Principality actually coexists with an Italian local government unit, known as the Commune of Seborga. This local government continues to operate as it has always done, and Seborgan citizens continue to pay their taxes to the Italian government just as they have always done. According to Councillor Pagani, there is a cordial relationship with Italy, even if everyone remains firm on their positions. The local Italian authorities are generally well disposed to the Principality, especially because it brings in much needed revenue from tourism. And it's not just Seborga that benefits. The surrounding municipalities get lots of visitors passing through as well, and so these 2 parallel government bodies peacefully rub along together. The cheerful, respectful attitude exhibited by Seborgan officials is what I think causes many in the media to misunderstand their objectives. That because they are polite and friendly, the Seborgans aren't entirely serious about actual independence. But as Princess Nina will tell us in a moment, their goal of international recognition is sincere, and to that effect, the Principality has diplomatic representatives in 8 countries and 1 international organization, the Gulf Cooperation Council. Another objective, which illustrates the seriousness of Seborga's efforts, is the recent drafting of a new version of the General Statutes, the Seborgan Constitution. This new version has not yet been made public, but it will be if approved by the Council of Priors, something which is expected to happen soon after this video is published. According to Councillor Pagani, who played a key role in their drafting, the new General Statutes are more structured, more complete, and more precise than the original 1995 version. They remove some institutions which are no longer in use and formalize many conventions which had previously only been traditions. Most notably, this flag, which has been in regular use since 1997, but is not, at least not yet, Seborga's official flag. Writing a new constitution, especially one designed mostly to improve administration rather than implement big changes, is a very grown-up thing to do, and it's also not the sort of thing that will bring much media attention or draw in more tourists. The only possible conclusion that you can make is that Seborga's government, led by Princess Nina, takes itself and its responsibilities to its citizens very seriously. So perhaps it's time for the rest of the world to begin taking Seborga more seriously too. Speaking of Princess Nina, let's have a look at that Zoom call I had with her a few days ago. After that, I'll explain what I think is the best argument for considering recognition of Seborga's independence. So, Your Serene Highness, it's a real thrill to be able to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. Let me start off with a question I know you get asked a lot. When you were growing up, did you ever expect to become a princess?
Well, I would say that every child has a dream, especially every girl has a dream of being a princess in her life. But unfortunately, it's not always like this. You have a horse carriage, white horses, and the fairy tale. But it's still nice. So yeah, kind of my dream came true.
Do you have a white horses with a carriage?
I have a black horse, but not a white horse.
I think I've seen pictures of it. Okay, and then I know you were elected in 2019. What did it feel like the moment that you realized that you were going to win? What was that sensation like?
Well, to be honest, I didn't realize it until the very end because I had a very strong competitor. It's the first time in history that there were 2 women going for the throne. And my competitor was very strong because she's the daughter of Prince Giorgio. So it was quite a tough battle. And I've never thought I would win with such higher score than she had. So it was very surprising. And I was very honored that the population appreciated me that much.
All right. So do you have any sort of aspirations for Seborga during your reign?
Well, look, absolutely. The most important point for Seborga is independence. It's not something easy. It's not something which is going to happen from day to tomorrow. We've already tried in the past. It's not easy, but we all believe in it and we will never give up. So we go for it. We have time. I'm still young. So let's go for it. And I believe in changing the infrastructure of Seborga. I believe in a project we have with a hotel, which would give work to the local people so they could stay in town and they wouldn't have to go away. And I just want to increase the level of well-being in Seborga.
Okay. If there was one thing you wanted the people of the world to know about Seborga, what would it be?
That Seborga, I think, is still kind of a fairy tale. And that's what nowadays we look for because the world is kind of sad. And with everything that's happening, Seborga is still a safe place. Even during COVID, we were all kind of free. We still could walk around and we have nature. It's a peaceful place. There is no crime. And I think that's the most important thing nowadays.
Wow, cool. So if Seborga was recognized as an independent country, would it make the world a happier place, do you think?
Well, of course. I mean, we are there. We are all happy people. Everybody's happy in Seborga. And it would definitely bring good to everything and to Italy, especially because we're surrounded by Italy. It would help the whole surrounding areas. Absolutely, it would be a better place.
Cool. Do you have a favorite part of Seborga? I know it's not very big, but is there like a favorite spot in the country?
My home? No, I'm just kidding.
Is it a palace?
Yeah, I love the place of the San Martino Church.
Right.
It's a real magical place. And as you can see on the picture, the church is very pretty. And on the floor, there's the Templar cross. And I think this place is just magic. So definitely if tourists come, they have to go and visit that site.
So I hope when the travel restrictions ease, I'll be able to come to Seborga in person. I'd very much like to do that. Is there a best time of year to come?
Well, definitely the 20th of August, because that's our national day. And we always have celebrations. And this year, because of COVID, we couldn't do it before. We're going to represent my new coin. So I'll have the Luigino coming out with my face on.
Really?
So I have my own money. Yes. And it's
That's
worth $60. So that's a pretty cool event. Yes, you should come by then.
And that's available to buy online, I'm guessing, on the Seborga website as soon as it's presented.
Yes, after the presentation, definitely. Yes, it will be presented on the 20th of August to public.
Super. Wow. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I really, really, really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a lovely day. Take care and see you in Seborga. Bye. Take care.
Pretty cool, huh? So, regarding Seborgan independence, the legal argument for this, which hinges on medieval paperwork, is, to me, not nearly as persuasive as the facts on the ground. Is the Principality of Seborga making the lives of its citizens better? I think clearly that's a yes. Would increased recognition of Seborga's sovereignty further improve their lives? I would think most likely that it would. Here's why. Seborga has established itself as the main tourist attraction for its region without any international recognition at all. Even a small increase in Seborga's standing would probably create a new influx of interest. And with Princess Nina at the helm, the Principality is positioning itself to capitalize economically from that interest more and more. A more developed Seborga also brings real economic benefits for the parts of Italy that border it, in the same way that the French Riviera benefits from Monaco and the Italian city of Rimini benefits from its proximity to San Marino. Formally recognizing a new sovereign nation inside its borders would create some serious challenges for Italy, but perhaps no other state in the world has its level of experience with this unique challenge. Italy already recognizes 3 very small sovereign nations within its borders, the previously mentioned San Marino, plus the Vatican City, and the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, both of which are located in Rome. Each of these 3 countries has treaties with Italy, which place significant limits on their sovereignty. San Marino, for example, has agreed not to sell tobacco products or alcohol, and San Marino and the Vatican use the euro instead of their own currency. If Italy was to make a similar treaty arrangement with the Principality of Seborga, not only would there be ample precedents to guide the process, but Seborga would become only the 3rd smallest sovereign country located within Italian territory. There would also be another benefit to such an arrangement. There have been repeated attempts by fraudsters and charlatans around the world to pass themselves off as rival claimants to the Seborgan throne, to sell degrees to non-existent Seborgan universities, or sell bogus noble titles or ambassadorships. The official Seborgan website, I'll put a link in the pinned comment below, has a very long section of activities not recognized by the Principality. I would argue that regularizing the status of the Principality in the international community would go a long way to clamping down on these fraudsters. Would that have to entail full independence as a sovereign state? I know that's what the Seborgan leadership want, but I suspect the Italian authorities are clever enough to come up with some sort of alternative arrangement which would benefit everyone if they wanted to. And after 30 years of good-natured, responsible leadership, I think the government, now led by Princess Nina, has demonstrated it is ready and capable of moving forward. I've covered several other aspiring countries on this channel. And to be sure, the case for many of these is much more urgent. The people of Somaliland and Kosovo have faced genocidal attacks from their own former governments. And refugees from the Western Sahara are routinely denied help because they are considered stateless by the countries that they flee to. That's an indignity that no one should have to suffer. Seborga's cause is, thankfully, not a matter of life and death, but nor is it a cause which, if successful, would cause much disruption. Seborga is simply too small to cause the sort of chaos that an independent Catalonia would cause for Spain, or that an independent Scotland would cause for the United Kingdom. So personally, I think recognition of Seborga's independence is something that's worth considering, and I hope you do too. But whatever you think of this argument, have a look at Seborga's website. There's an online shop where you can get the same shirt Princess Nina was wearing, a flag, a coffee mug, and starting in August, coins with Princess Nina's likeness on them. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a like if you don't mind, and leave some comments. Let me know what you think of Seborga's case. And I'll see you guys in the next video.